you guys can see, the car is back on its wheels. Pretty painless getting it down. And now, all of that work that we did was just to get to the cover so we could get inside the engine and pretty much fix the problem that's inside. So from here on out, it's pretty much getting our head stuck in the engine bay. So today we're going to want to try and remove these on either side, and now we want to try and get this off, so then we can basically get further into the engine and essentially fix it, or decide whether to carry on fixing it.
Now, nothing we take out here, we need to make a note of where it goes, because it all goes back in a fairly logical fashion. But later on, I have to make sure that things go in the right place. Hence the fancy plastic box. So if you have a look, you'll see right at the front here, I've machined a little bit of a
lip. Yep.
So the idea is now, I'm literally just going to get a chisel.
Enough.
It should make a slightly different noise as it comes up, but it's not yet, which is somewhat frustrating. There we go.
Well, hey.
So hopefully I haven't made too much of a mess of that.
And the rest of it should just pull off.
Should just leave her up. No.
Look at that. Inside.
So this is the reason why this engine is so light, or one of several reasons. It's a single overhead cam with only 2 valves per cylinder. So instead of having a massive head with lots and lots of cams and everything, no, it's very, very small and light. Sounds okay, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sounds like it was going.
Sounds good.
Okay. So I've got to put the cam bolt back in here because I'm going to need to pull these sprockets off the camshaft. Normally what you do is you have a thing here that holds the sprocket in place so that you can pull the camshaft out and then put it back put it back in again without disturbing any of the timing. But in this case we're just pulling everything apart, so we don't need to preserve the timing because it's all going to change anyway. New head gaskets means everything moves, so there's nothing to preserve. The only thing to do is to make sure it doesn't get damaged when we pull it apart. I don't need to change the cam chain because I changed that very recently, like 10,000 miles ago. So that can just slide off there now. And do the other side as well. Now normally that's the last thing we do because you don't want to have you're going to lose the cam timing, and doing that would lose the cam timing if we were trying to do both the sides at the same time.
Yeah.
When you test all these and measure everything, you have to do it one side at a time, because you're using one side as the sort of as the measuring point, and then this side. So you're measuring one side off the other, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Right, so now at this point, this is where it gets even more interesting. So we've now got to get these cams up. But obviously, what we've got here is a lot of spring effort trying to push the cam out of the engine.
Yeah.
And in order not to risk putting any unpleasant forces on it, I'm doing it really very carefully indeed. And even better than that, I use this on here. You'll see why, because it enables a nice solid bit wrench. Now, this is going to be so much more awkward than you might imagine, because see how easy it is to drop things. It doesn't really matter, isn't that? Oil well, but I'll go and get it out now anyway.
I see the second.
See how easy it is to drop things?
Yeah.
I mean, because it doesn't matter, I'm not being particularly careful, but
Oh yeah, magnet works. You know those pliers as well, but
right. So when this comes off, it's going to leave behind these two locating dowels. Now I need to get those little bastards off.
Yep.
Because they don't fit on my rather clever. Because this is not designed for this engine whatsoever. It's just almost the right sort of size. Bizarrely, I don't know how this happens, but bizarrely, the journals of the cams are like a sort of standard size world over. Apparently, I don't know how that works, but it is. So these are exactly the same size journals as the journals in that 928. Hence, that's where that came from. Even though German car designed 10, 15 years earlier. Where's the engine? Right, so the problem I have now, and it is bloody awkward, is that getting these things out, I won't be able to tighten that on there properly whilst they're still in place. And I want to tighten that down. I can't get those little bugs out very easily because I can't hold them. If I try and grip them with anything, it damages them. So the most practical solution here, so the idea is I'm going to double nut this and then extract the stud, and then I can get the little dowel out. It's all incredibly tedious, but it's just one of those things. Well, yeah, they say, oh, don't worry about it, just pull the bloody cam off. And I'm never comfortable being that brutal. I like to be more gentle because there is a lot of force there. Right, so double nut, tighten those two things right up. Then, in theory, no, that's not doing it, is it? Alright, so in theory, that's now tight enough to, yes. Right, so now, pull that out. And what did I use last time? I might have used a drill, or I might have used something like that. It's just about the right size, but it doesn't quite work. So I'm going to see if I can find.
it's moving. That's one
It's
thing.
moving, yeah, but I'm also sort of marginally weakening the thing it's sitting on. I don't think it should be a disaster.
There we go.
So, right, use that. Stud goes back in. So when I do the test for the shims, obviously I don't put the thing back in until everything's perfect, and then I'll put the the dowel back before I tightened it up the last time.
Yeah.
Right, so again, I need to... Okay, so it's gone okay so far. So the next part of this is...
Move this over to this side, can't
yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's
I lost my warm spot, I had my hand on.
Okay, so I'm just putting a little bit of oil there, just so it's got something nice to sit on. So now you can see, perfect fit, yeah?
Uh-huh.
No, not quite a perfect fit because this won't actually go all the way down. So what I need to do is I need to just pack it up so that it has something there.
Sure, the washers are in the box.
Yeah. Right, so now we've got something there. Right. So the rest of this process is to gently allow it to come up. So I'm going to just put a little bit more pressure on there. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to start just to take the initial half or quarter turn off there. So that's so we're not actually letting it up at all, we're just taking a quarter of a turn off each one so I can then do them using a smaller socket, lighter socket. So if you look at this, you can see where the pressure is. The pressure is here because that one's pressed right down.
Uh-huh.
There's not much pressure at this end. There's pressure there. There's a bit of pressure there. So you can see all the pressure sort of it's sort of even across here, but it's more at this end than it is at this end. So
where the things are further down.
yeah. So now it's just a process of going around here, trying to do everything evenly, so at no point does it really notice that I'm taking the pressure off it. Yeah. And it always feels a lot better doing this than trying to pull it out in one big lump because the spring pressure on those candles is massive. Now at some point there is the risk that the very last bit of spring pressure could send one of the nuts pinging off across the garage. It hasn't happened to me yet, but there is always that risk.
Yep.
So right at the end, starts with that careful. You can now do it by feel. You can feel which ones are holding it in place. As soon as it goes loose, you can feel it. Right, it's pretty much much it now. So I'm going to end up with nothing left. Alright, this one's now got pressure on. Okay. I'll get you out in a second. As you can see, minimum disturbance when that came off, which is really nice. It's the last thing you want to do is knowingly stress it out. Now, I have plenty of photos of this, so I know, because I can go back and look, which one of these is which. Because they are different, obviously, from side to side.
Yep.
So you can see numbered from 1 through to 5 on this side.
Yeah.
Numbered from 1
2 to 5.
and bizarrely, it looks like I've actually got that one upside down. Looks like it should be like that.
Well, the number's the same way up.
Is it? That's facing you. That's facing me.
That's 4. That's facing me. 3, 2, 1. 1, 2,
Is that
3,
facing
4.
you? Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it can. Maybe.
L shape.
Maybe it's.
Can't.
So now the other thing there is on some of these is.
Yeah, no, it looks fine.
Get my glasses.
Yeah, I mean the one here is reversed, so this doesn't look. That's backwards to that one.
Right. So if you have a look at this,
Yeah.
you'll see very, very lightly there's a notch there, there,
Yeah.
there, and there.
I see it.
So all the ones on this side
They're notched.
are notched, and all the numbers are facing in your
Towards
direction.
me, yeah. Bolt fishing.
Absolutely. Right, now, as I'm sure you can guess, cams are cheap. And bizarrely enough, even though this engine is a mess, these cams are actually in perfect condition, or near enough perfect condition. Therefore, the last thing I want to do is drop them.
Yep.
So I'm not going to leave them like that permanently, but obviously
That's
a pretty safe place to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the rock cover, right?
Indeed.
Yes.
So,
Looks a lot different to the one on my Persia, that's for sure.
have I left anything else in it? I don't think I have. I think that's all pretty much safe.
Yeah, I can't see anything from this side.
Okay, so annoyingly, I don't seem to have one of my favourite tools. So I've got two of these things, and one of them has got a much. The bloody one's gone. The other one's got a much more powerful magnet on it. And the much more powerful magnet is really useful because you use it
To pull the pistons
to
up.
pull these little lifters up,
Oh.
and then the oil will drain out. Now,
Bucket.
the numbering convention on this engine is even side, sorry, odd side, even side. So this is number 1.
Yep.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's the way this works. So, for my next trick,
Don't need the lid anymore.
take these out. Now this is obviously something I do not want to drop.
Yes.
So, what we're doing here is, if you look at this, you've got an exhaust port there,
Yep.
and an intake port there, which means that's the exhaust and that's the intake. Yeah.
Okay.
So on this,
closest to the
so on
closest to the intake.
exactly. So on this side, I know that that one is
The intake.
cylinder number 1 intake.
Yep.
So 1 in. Now, the other thing you'll notice is on this, there's nothing there.
Okay.
But on some of the other ones, we may see the shim that's been left behind. Now, I can't. That one doesn't want to come out at the moment, so we'll leave that one. So this is now 3,
3.
and this is exhaust here. 3 exhaust.
So now,
So this is.
pull them out.
Well, it's not. See whether it feels quite. That one's turning might. No. So you can see where the oil feed is. Actually, the oil feed is there. But there isn't an oil feed along here, but I think the oil comes out of the cam itself. I think the camshaft has
So it
oil
goes up
lines.
through here and then.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly, yes.
Yeah.
If you look at the face of these, now they are marked, but they're not dished. There aren't any big sort of. They're not holed. You can see they're slightly. You can see there's a.
So like the ring there.
Yeah, so you can see there is, but it's definitely not actually suffered. So I've replaced most of these for ones that I've. You can see a little bit of a dip in that one. You can see there's a little bit of a dip in there.
Yeah.
This one here is really clean. So one of the things that I want to do is I'm probably going to replace any of these that look really bad, because as long as the rest of the engine is worth it, I might as well spend a couple of quid on those. They're not cheap, unfortunately. They're like 25 quid each, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Which when you have 8.
Yeah, the other problem
16,
is
yeah.
that I have some spares, but obviously I've used all the best ones.
Yeah.
The problem is there appear to be 2 different sorts. There's some that are like 58 grams, and there's some that are 62 grams or something like that, and you really want it to be balanced. You don't want different weight things in there. So there is that complication as well. There's always complications. So I think, alright, so we'll leave this side,
And
we'll move over to this side, and we'll do the same thing over there.
Yep.
I'm going to close this up.
I'll start off with this card, and like my computer just wouldn't let me. So
Oh, yes! It's even more important when it goes back together. Now, somewhere, those little spring washers went somewhere as well. Right, I'm just going to go and create a little bit of newspaper for it.
Hey guys, Brian96 here. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. So this was just one day and I've had to split it because there's so much footage and so much goes on. But this was us taking the cams out, and there is a specific way you have to do it so that it releases the pressure, or the spring pressure, and then you need to know where you're putting the tappets and the shims so that when you put them back they're all in the correct place, because everything in the engine differently, you can't just throw it all in separately. So yeah, join us next time for the next video where hopefully we get further inside the engine and see what damage has been caused. And yeah, take care guys, see you next time.